Ynw Mellys' life behind bars. Well, as you might have heard, Ynw Melly has been in prison for over a year. He has been held in prison for multiple charges. But what is his life in prison like? Keep watching to find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to HipHop Noise. In this video, I'm going to be telling you what life in prison is like for Ynw Melly. But before we begin, punch the subscribe button and slap that notification bell to get notified in case of future videos. The rapper known as Ynw Mellys is being held on a lot of charges. One of them, which included the deaths of Ynw Sack Chaser and Yn Juvie. But then something happened in the month of April 2020. Ynw Melly tested positive for coronavirus. Because of this, Ynw Melly's team wanted to get him out of prison as fast as possible so they can treat him properly. While doing this, the jail which he was imprisoned in, known as Broward County Jail, did not grant the request to release Ynw Melly by releasing disciplinary reports of him. The reports were basically what he'd been doing since he turned himself in since February 2019. Basically, things like who were sending him money, who visited him, and who communicated with. You know, all the regular stuff. Ynw Melly made it seem like things were all breezy and problem-free by releasing songs, posting pictures of his shoes, and saying that he'll be back soon. What we did not know is the fact that he was breaking the prison rules by getting in fights with inmates and making phone calls that were not allowed. There was also a time he flooded his entire unit just because he could. Want to know what else Ynw Melly has been doing behind bars? Here it is. Before we begin, some of you might not know why Ynw Melly is in jail, so let me debrief you. In the month of October 2018, Ynw Melly's friends who were Ynw Juvie and Ynw Sack Chaser were both victim of a drive-by and were killed on the spot. Ynw Melly drove his friends to the hospital, and during an interrogation session with the police, he told them what had happened, but they didn't believe him. After months of investigation, enough evidence was gathered to prove that Ynw Melly staged the drive-by. Ynw Melly turned himself in on the 13th of February 2019. You may be itching to know more about Ynw Melly's arrest case, and if you are, you can always check out our channel where we have the full and detailed explanation there. Okay, back to where we were. Ynw Melly spends his jail time on the 6th floor of the Broward County Jail. Basically, he spends his time chilling with other inmates in the general population. In case you didn't know, in prison terms, general population is a group of inmates that are not given any special treatment. He also talks on the phone with his friends. It has also been discovered that even during Melly's time in jail, he has received a lot of deposits in his account, at least once a week. Between the months of February 2019 and March 2020, Melly spent over $4,000 on commissary items. Commissary items are items gotten from a canteen or store that can be found in prison. But what did he buy? You might be wondering, well, he bought Oreos, Grandma's cookies, Doritos, chips, cinnamon rolls, Cheetos, and hot cocoa. But that is not all that Melly has bought. He also bought and is still buying pens, pencils, miss you cards, paper, reading glasses, headphones, and many more. In the Broward County Jail, inmates have about $22 in their accounts, an $80 clothing limit, and an $80 food limit. Basically, inmates can spend up to $150 a week on commissary items. But going on a shopping spree isn't the only thing Ynw Melly spends his time doing while in jail. Apart from this, he also spent a lot of time in the jail visitation center. Only in-person visits are allowed in the Broward County Jail, the visitors being law enforcement, attorneys, and religious ministers. Over the course of 1 year, Ynw Melly had at least 160 visits, most of them being his legal team who are assisting him in preparing for his trial. But 2 of these visits stood out from the rest. There was something unique about these visits. The first visit was from a prison minister who had connections with a crime family known as the Trafficante crime family. There's a lot of snacking going on with Ynw Melly in prison, but apart from all this, he seems to be having a hard time in prison. Although he gives off a cool and fun vibe on social media, the type of vibe that shows he is enjoying himself, Ynw Melly has violated a lot of prison rules and in multiple occasions has had several confrontations with prison guards. Because of all the things Ynw Melly has done and all the rules that he's violated, privileges like commissary purchases, recreational activities, and visitation have been withdrawn from him. He has also been sent to the solitary aspect of the prison for many days in a row. A month after Ynw Melly arrived in prison, he had his first major incident. Here's how it went down. On the 13th of March, year 2019, Melly had a 3-way phone call which was a clear violation of the prison rules. Making a three-way phone call is considered disruptive conduct in prison and will not be tolerated. This violation of prison rules made Melly to be thrown in solitary confinement for 30 days. Imagine not seeing other people for an entire 30 days. Oh, and he still did not have those prison privileges during those 30 days. 2 months after his solitary confinement, Melly got into even more trouble. He was charged with disrespecting an officer. Well, not exactly disrespecting, but threatening the officer too. Let's just say threatening and disrespecting an officer. This violation caused Melly to be sentenced to 20 days in solitary confinement, and he lost all of his privileges again. A few months passed after that, and in the month of September 2019, Melly did something really nasty. He took a large towel and stuffed it in the toilet in the cell until the hole was completely blocked. He then flushed the toilet multiple times until his entire unit was flooded from top to bottom. Ynw Mellys was reported by a deputy who confessed that Melly admitted to flooding the unit and also threatened him. Because of what Melly did, the entire unit had to be evacuated. Because of this flooding, Melly was sentenced to 20 days in solitary confinement, and after he got out, he got put on probation for an extra 10 days. Let us go all the way to the month of February 2020. What happened in this month? You might be wondering. Well, Ynw Mellys got into a terrible fight with 5 other inmates in a cell block. It took more than one deputy to break up the fight considering how terrible it was. Because of this fight, Melly was charged with 2 violations. The first violation was for fighting another inmate, and the second violation was for disruptive conduct. On the 23rd of February, he had a hearing for these charges and was found guilty. I know what you're thinking. Solitary confinement. Well, you're not wrong. Ynw Mellys spent 30 days in solitary confinement without his prison privileges. Let's do a quick calculation. If you count all the time Ynw Mellys has spent in solitary confinement, it'll be up to 70 days in total. Still, to this day, Ynw Mellys is still in prison as he waits to be tried. In the beginning of the month of April 2020, a coronavirus test was conducted on Melly, and when the results came back, he tested positive. Because of this, Ynw Mellys' lawyer, known as Bradford Cohen, proposed a motion to the judge to release Melly and place him on house arrest so that he can receive proper medical care. Because of this, a lot of Melly's fans on social media were happy and had their hopes up because they saw it as an opportunity for Melly to be released, considering the fact that 6ix9ine was released. On the 14th of April, year 2020, the judge denied the motion for Ynw Mellys' release and said that if Melly needed special medical treatment while in prison, he could have requested it from the office of the sheriff. As of now, Ynw Mellys is in the same cell with another roommate who has tested positive for coronavirus. You may be asking yourself the question, will Ynw Mellys be released? Well, when he got arrested in the first place, it seemed like Melly committed the crimes he was accused of committing, although the prosecutors could not really prove that Ynw Mellys committed these crimes. The state of Florida also brought a lot of evidence which was supposed to show that Ynw Mellys committed these crimes, but the evidence was not enough to prove that they committed these crimes. There are a lot of mistakes which have been made by the police authorities, one of the mistakes being the fact that they were not able to get even a little amount of Ynw's DNA from the crime scenes. The authorities also made another mistake in the sense that they could not find a specialist to determine the trajectory of the bullets that were found in the car when the crime scene took place. Because of this, Ynw Mellys can hire his own specialist to disprove the bullet trajectory facts. In the next trial, if the judge finds out that the evidence against Ynw Mellys is not strong enough, Ynw Mellys will be released on bond. Being released on bond does not necessarily mean Melly is completely free, since he still has to be pronounced not guilty in trials. Ynw Mellys' former lawyer thinks Melly will be found not guilty, and he also has gone ahead to post it on Instagram. Melly's former lawyer said that it'll be a very interesting trial, and he also predicted Melly not guilty based on the reviewed evidence. Melly's former lawyer also said that the bond will be granted given how weak the evidence against Melly is. Hopefully everything will work out in Ynw Mellys' favor. Well, here we are. We've arrived at the end of the video. If you've enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button and punch the subscribe button to see more videos like this. You see that tiny notification bell? Don't forget to ring it so that you can get notified when we upload new videos. Peace out!